Hi, Mark. Hello, everyone. I look like a little, so I'm going to turn my video off.
Are we broadcasting okay?
Well,
You know what?
Can you hear us?
Yes, now we can. It was on mute.
Okay,
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure I hadn't muted my computer or, anyway, we're good. Okay.
Okay, so everyone, we have your full agenda tonight. We need to stay razor sharp focused.
okay. Yes, because it's long. Are we gonna do this first?
Yeah, the records.
Okay.
Yes.
We have to do,
Records Commission. Yes, Records Commission.
so I need a motion to accept the records commission agenda.
Can we call attendance?
Oh, we do attendance first?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Barb?
Yes. Here.
Harold?
Yes.
Tracy's not here yet. Karen?
Here.
Kathleen?
Here.
And Sue?
I'm here.
I will need a motion to accept the records commission meeting agenda.
Barb?
Yes.
Harold?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Here.
Karen?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
And Sue?
Yes.
Do we have any public participation?
Well, we've got our managers with us, but I don't necessarily call them public.
She doesn't know if she wants to tell.
I'm not approaching with any concern.
That's good to hear.
That's fine.
I'll list them okay, do you want the minutes?
Okay.
I need approval of the minutes for October 2021 regular meeting.
I will move.
Oh, did we already get out of the other one?
Yes.
Did I miss that? And I did just get a text from Tracy. She says she's locked out of her car and help is on the way, so she'll be here as soon as she's locked out of her car. The new meeting 36 days. Terrible dark. Can we call attendance again?
Yes.
Okay, probably it's officially a separate meeting. All right,
Okay.
going to the regular board meeting. Kathleen,
Yes.
Barb,
Here.
Harold,
Yes.
Karen,
Here.
and Sue.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, so we did the next approval of the minutes for the October 2021 regular meeting.
I move. I'll second.
Mark,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yeah.
Harold,
Yes.
and Sue.
Yes.
Lynn, correspondence?
Yes, sir. So Public Library Fund for November came in. The county's was just over 120,000 and our share of that was just over $74,500. As of October, excuse me, last month, we had actually reached all that we had anticipated getting from the PLF. So this is completely over and above anything we had anticipated getting, and we still got 1 month to go for those funds. And as far as Ohio Library Council, they did make sure that we are understanding everything that's coming out of the federal government about vaccine mandates and related issues. And, just to clarify, it does not apply to us or public employer, and we're smaller than 100 employees. Besides the fact that most of those OSHA things do not actually apply to public libraries in Ohio. There was information about a vaccine mandate actually being voluntary. It's okay if we wanted to do that on a voluntary basis, and OLC's legal counsel did prepare documents for that. I am not going to recommend that we go that direction. I don't think it's a wise thing to do in these circumstances, especially considering that so many lawsuits have been filed against that already. But I just think that I needed to make sure you understood that we have been told it could be done voluntarily, and there is guidance for that if we decide to go that route. It was neat to see that the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act that's coming from the federal government is actually going to have some trickle down to libraries at some point. I don't expect that to happen for at least another 6 months or so, that we'll start hearing about how that actually will take place. But it will be nice to see whether we can do something to expand broadband and internet access here on site. Yeah, it says about $43 billion for broadband deployment, including provisions to promote gigabit service to libraries, gigabit. So we'll see what that actually turns into. It was nice also to see that library issues on the November ballot in Ohio all passed. And as I'd mentioned last month, the way that COVID test kits are being distributed through libraries is changing. Instead of them primarily being the ones that are proctored so that you get official results, most of them will be like the over-the-counter type, because I believe the state's Department of Health went through them a lot more quickly than they anticipated. And so they're just not, the proctored ones are being saved for when they really need it to be used. And that's it for correspondence.
Thank you. Ms. Sarah, financial report?
Sounds good. Appropriation summary report for October 2021. Salaries, we are at $53,403. That was down about $7,000 from the month of September. Employee fringe benefits, $15,233. That was up about $710. Purchased and contracted services, $25,637. That was up about $7,600 from September. Library materials and information and supplies, $12,942 for library materials, and supplies were at $1,641. That was down about $3,300 from September to October. My month-to-date expenditures, $113,571. Bank reconciliation report for the month of October, I received $89,427 in receipts, $118,071 for payments. I had one adjustment for $4,200. That was an E-rate reimbursement. My receipts were, everything involved in that was PLF for the month of October was $75,997. I received $55,360 for fourth quarter law library lease. I had a Cook donation. I had a Bates donation. I had the Millicron grant money, and then I had an anonymous donation. Outstanding payments. I have 3 outstanding payments, all of which are from a Georgetown employee. Still 3 payroll checks outstanding. So that's been communicated. Yeah, those have been communicated to this certain employee. So hopefully those get cashed before the end of the year. Cash summary by fund. Like I mentioned, the expenditures, $113,571. Our bank balance, we're at $1,128,490. Cash summary, general fund cash summary flow. I already talked to, no, I did. Yeah, I did. PLF, $75,097. I talked about the law library lease money I already received. And then we had some other receipts, which totaled, this is so little, $668. Total general revenue, $81,126. Total general expenditures, $108,858. Total cash balance in the general fund, $915,462. I did want to make a note under the estimated December. Lynn and I actually talked about that. That 150,000 on the transfer outline, I actually reduced that to 100,000. Giving that little explanation in the center of the page, that brought my estimated end of year balance to 703,000. And then the general fund spendable balance to $353,000. That spreadsheet, the expenditure reconciliation report, you'll notice I did 48,802 in payments. My two payrolls were pretty similar. October 15th payroll was 26,356. The 29th of October's payroll was $27,334. The board share for retirement was $7,516. The board share for Medicare, $747. Board share health insurance for the employees was $4,461. That's up a little bit from last year. We had an employee enroll in health insurance. You'll notice the local taxes, giving my total expenditures $113,571. Any questions about payments? I don't think there was anything out of the ordinary.
Tracy, you got in your car.
Fund summary report, expenditures, this, I feel like I said this number a million times, 113,571. Open POs as of the end of October was 90,764. That number is going to start drastically going down as we close stuff for the end of the year. Questions? Okay.
Bottom line, we're in the black. Looks good.
We're in good shape.
So I need a motion to approve the financial investment reports.
Mark,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Tracy,
Yes.
and Sue.
Yes.
Thanks.
All right, I need a motion to amend number 61-021, designation of the ARPA grant fund from 400,000. Is that 400X?
It's 4,000 something, but we never know whether the accounting
Okay.
system's gonna
It goes in
assign that.
sequential order.
Thank you. To 2009, all revenue and appropriations account lines remain unchanged.
That's because last month I called it a 4,000 special fund, but those are capital projects, and this was a special fund, which is in the 2,000 category.
Okay.
Just a new number.
It's just a different number. Yeah, that's why I said everything else is the same. We just had to
I'll
reassign
move.
it a different fund number.
I'll second.
My boo-boo made extra work for Sarah.
Mark,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Tracy,
Yes.
and Sue.
Yes.
It's all a learning experience.
Oh, what?
It's all a
She
learning
needed
experience.
To see how that worked on the UAN system, so I gave her the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Lynn.
It's an early Christmas present.
I need a motion to transfer out of general 1,000 fund per 2021 approved appropriations, 100,000 to capital projects fund 4,002.
I'll move. You can talk about it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was just, if people needed an explanation, that's, part of what our permanent appropriations had already set up, but we know we're gonna have the money, so it's time to be able to spend it now.
I'll second, Sarah.
Thank you. Mark,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Tracy,
Yes.
Sue.
Yes.
I need a motion to approve the 2021 final appropriations as presented.
I am sending,
Oh, she's coughing.
Yeah. You haven't gotten, I don't think they were in Dropbox, or did you put?
I didn't. I finalized them and then I didn't even think about it. I am passing around what active funds we have and the final appropriation. And then I'm passing out a comparison of budget and appropriated. This is a report you probably haven't seen. I think it goes hand in hand with this Excel spreadsheet. So this is a new report. I think it'll make more sense to see. Thank you.
While they're passing that around, we may have to finalize appropriations again next month anyway, because of insurance money coming in ways we might not have anticipated it, and
2021.
yeah.
Did you want me to hold on?
I don't know. Do you want to have it so you can send something to?
I have to,
Jill
I
and-
have a bunch of like these three little final appropriation things that I have to, yeah,
Okay.
so I'll use
Yeah,
this
I'd say
motion.
we probably need to go ahead and do
Yeah.
it just so she can file things with the county auditor. And
okay.
then
We can make
then if
last
we
minute
have
changes.
to, we can do last minute changes if we have to.
I noticed on the final appropriations that personnel is
Thanks.
at 60, well, it's almost 67%.
Of
I think
total
that's something that we
expenditures.
needed to talk about, maybe not tonight, but over the long haul. And see, the books or materials are down to 17% instead of 20.
And that's with which numbers? So you said 67 and 17.
Which one now?
What numbers are you using to come up with?
Okay, I'm using on the sheet the general fund budget proposal by cost center. And I'm using the total salaries and benefits versus the amount to be spent.
Is that for 2022 or is that for 2021?
For 21.
We're not there.
I think that he's looking at the temporary for next.
I was gonna say, I came up with almost the same numbers using this 2022 revenue plan. Percentages.
I'm confused because I thought we were doing 2021 finals
I
right
know, I
now.
just know how we.
Yes, that's what we.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we need to.
For 2021, I think the marigold color or whatever you call it, I think that's 2022, isn't it?
Yes, that's next year's temporary.
We're still working on the 2021.
Ones,
final
Yes,
Yeah.
and so Harold, you're talking about using her monthly,
Oh.
this report to find those numbers or?
It's the marigold, common, or well, it's actually 2022 because we're talking about the final appropriations for the next year, right?
No, not for next year. We're not to the next year's yet. We're doing final appropriations for this year.
Oh,
Because we have to do some changes on those, so, yeah.
Any questions about those? Don't you like that report comparison with the spreadsheet?
Yes,
Makes it a little bit more clear where I'm getting the numbers.
yes.
Excellent.
Well, thank you.
So we have a motion for 2021.
I move.
I'll second.
Mark,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Harold,
yes.
Tracy,
Yes.
and Sue.
Okay.
Yes.
Am I going to do 2022?
Well, we need to get something on the books for temporary appropriations for next year so that we can spend money as of January 1. And this is just the first draft.
Rough draft?
It's a rough draft of a spending plan.
It will go to the auditor. She will see it.
Yeah, eventually. But that's where I think Harold had some questions about some things, yes.
But I don't mean to hold up things tonight. I just think we need to think about
Well, and I guess maybe we calculate things differently because I was looking at the general fund and looking at those numbers, and I was looking at, for example, the salaries and benefits, just over $1 million, and that as a percentage of the total disbursements from the general fund as the percentage.
Yes, would be
And
1,000,005 on your expenditures subtotal. So in other words, of the amount that you're spending, how much of it is going to personnel?
right, and I actually include the transfers out to the other funds because that's money still going out. And so I've always used the total disbursements from
1.6.
the 1.6, yes.
Okay, well,
And
it
that,
shouldn't make a lot of difference.
61%. 61. And then, but to your point though, then that actually makes the materials lower. That makes it 14%. And that's, again, this is just the first draft of let's throw in for budgeting purposes, wages for, what we might project we're going to do with wages and how it will cost the whole year if we were doing full staffing. So that might be a little bit overinflated at this point. We don't know what the actual carryover is going to be, although we've tried our best to estimate, all of those things. But yeah, you're right. We need to look at that. And I think we need to have a discussion about what the standards have been and what they might be changing to, and how do we need to think about that differently.
But for tonight's purposes.
But for tonight's, it's
temporary.
just temporary. I don't think I left out any special funds that we might have to work with next year. So I think we're good.
So, a motion to approve the 2022 temporary appropriations as presented.
You second, I didn't.
Oh, I think they both spoke almost simultaneously.
I didn't hear.
Doesn't matter to me.
Okay. Mark,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Tracy,
Yes.
Sue.
Yes.
Okay, on to the librarian's report, which is going to be the
Questions, thoughts? You do have some managers on the line. If you have anything that you wanted to ask about in terms of what's going on in the buildings or what might be different from this time last year.
I think I have a couple of questions for Heather. I'm kidding.
Poor Heather. Poor Heather.
How surprising, Mark.
Oh, my goodness.
So does anybody have any questions, building reports? We're going to start with that and we'll move on to statistics.
All right. The numbers? We want to talk about numbers?
On the building reports. Okay, numbers then?
Okay, so just to point out that things are down a little bit because we have to remember that while Georgetown is now open to the public, we've still got a whole floor that's closed and we have no elevators. So traffic is down, but at least it's open again. And Wi-Fi hotspots though, can't really keep those on the shelves. They're out almost all the time. I do want to point out that Georgetown did a really nice pivot and they converted a lot of their programs to outreach programs since they couldn't have people downstairs doing kids programs. And they've commandeered when needed, a little space upstairs to do some programs as well. And I'm sure Tanya can fill you in if you have any specific questions about that. As far as discards, you see some of the final numbers from fall book sales. You can anticipate seeing more from Georgetown as they go through all of those boxes of books that were moved from the downstairs. They hadn't yet gotten to in preparation for the pre-flood renovation plan. So that will be happening as they are getting ready to hopefully put things back on the shelves.
Hey, Lynn,
Yes, ma'am.
there was a lot of discards in Mount Orb too because of the magazines to make room for the 3D printer.
Oh, that's true. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, they've a lot of buildings have been doing some rearranging lately, so that's good to look at things with fresh eyes. What else? So I'm wondering, we may want to pay attention to the number of digital library cards that get added in next month's report, because our youth team did a presentation at the countywide Teachers in Service, and it included a number of our digital resources and talked about how to use the digital cards as well as our app and all. So it'll be interesting to see whether that converts to teachers having any of their classes, students sign up for cards as well.
And they can do that without a parental signature if it's digital only?
Digital only requires an adult's email address. Well, no, not anymore, because we're doing this all through SEO. So that's correct. It does not.
Okay.
It does not. The old way. It. And then as far as again, you can see library visits, Georgetown a bit under its normal, just again, because of the closure and only being partially open. But very high locker use. The patrons there have, decided that it's a really good alternative while they can't get in there. And the higher curbside numbers are primarily from COVID tests and the meal kits, the meal distribution. So.
And then I probably should have asked this a month ago, but I'm curious, in the Georgetown facility, how often is the elevator used on a daily basis?
Tanya, do you want to talk about the fact that you guys haven't had to go to the gym or anything lately because of all the trips up and down the stairs to reshelve things?
Yes, so we have to carry everything up and down the stairs in totes. All books to be reshelved, bringing items down. So we use the elevator every day, multiple times a day, just the staff, and that doesn't include the patrons who use it quite often. It's a daily basis, yes.
Okay, I was just curious, Tanya.
Yeah.
Yes, it is definitely used.
Because we're dropping a lot of money on getting it repaired.
We are.
And I should have asked that a month ago as we were going into repairs, but thank you, Tanya.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I guess that's it for statistics, unless anyone has any questions about anything.
Okay, Lynn, you want to slide right into
Let's
announcements?
slide into announcements. So the board approved the contract with ProKill last month, I believe it was, and the annual treatments are being scheduled around. I know Mount Orbs is the end of this week. And buildings have been encouraged to do some fall cleaning and purging after their Santa shops are done. Primarily, I told them this at our staff development day last week because we're going to be getting some new items that they're going to have to find places to store. Every building will be getting one of these video conference kits and canopies, pop-up canopies that they'll be able to use and such. So they need to find good places to put them in their buildings. So the community engagement report was included in your packets. I don't know if anyone had any questions about anything that we are doing with our different partner organizations, or any of the managers had anything to say about anything that, any of the groups they work with.
I did get notice that for the Brown County Safety Net, so something that we participate in is Brown County Community Collaborative Resource, something, I can't.
It's a collaborative,
Basically,
yeah.
Basically, it is we're trying to form a safety net in Brown County so that a communication set up can be made. We're going to put it online, have a website. Basically, when crisis happens and needs need to be met, the community comes together and like filters in where to find what need. But it did get passed down within United Way. So Marcy will no longer be heading that up. They've passed it down to someone else. So just FYI,
Okay.
she's not the contact for it
Okay.
anymore. So.
Okay.
Is that like a personal thing or is it a community-wide? Like, are they responding to a community issue or are they responding to an individual issue?
Mostly individual, but it could be community-wide. So the library obviously fits a need in there because, I mean, we give out food, we have, lists for resources to, just different things. And a lot of what we can do is help inform people of the needs as well. So that's how we fit in. I meet with them and, they've set up a thing in Aberdeen or over the summer where different organizations came together. They passed out like kits, food kits, like needs for backpacks, and like they also did Narcan distribution from Drug Coalition. I mean, it was like a big community effort. So they're trying to do more of that. And they just got funded by United Way to do the website. And that's in the baby stages. And if you want to like compare what they're doing, you can search like Google Claremont County Safety Net, very similar. So
Very cool.
thank you.
Yeah. Well, you think about in your own communities, how, somebody has a need, the call goes out to the church members. Does anybody have a bed? Does the washer? So it's that as well as anything. Yeah. But it's everybody countywide who can help potentially provide services so that it will facilitate that activity. So funding opportunities. So we're really moving on some of these grants. Millicron delivered the 2 3D printers last week. Heather has her staff working on that. It's unboxed, and I don't know how far he's gotten, but along with it comes a curriculum and a lot of assistance, although we really had hoped that they were going to help us set it up, and we get to do that, figure it out on our own. So we're working on that. Emergency Connectivity Fund, the purchase of the Chromebooks is actually in progress. I saw delivered yesterday or today, where actually the cases for the Chromebooks arrived at our office. So I'm hoping that soon the Chromebooks themselves will come. My best guess is that those will be all set up and inventoried and ready to be able to be checked out to people about the first of the year is when those will actually be available. And then for the ARPA grant, the video conference kits have arrived. And so that's in process as well in terms of inventorying those. And then we'll roll them out to the branches to make sure that they know how to use them and can use them themselves for their own activities, but also potentially use it for patrons who may need to do, shut the doors and do a telehealth, if they don't have that ability in their own homes, or depositions, or who knows what, but it's going to be there and available. So that's another neat thing going on. Statewide delivery has sort of improved. It's improved a bit at Georgetown, but I'm hearing that there are some bobbles at Mount Orab now with changing the scheduling and all. So we're going to have to continue to work on that. But we have gotten to the point where at least we don't have to do deliveries with our neighboring libraries anymore. It seems to have worked itself out that much. And the state has rolled out a program called Northstar Digital Literacy. It would have been really nice to have this available when we had the Guiding Ohio online grants, because it is a curriculum all set up and it's free to use with library cards. Basically, there are assessments for all kinds of digitally based activities, as basic as, how you use your mouse, or how does Windows work, to using email well, Microsoft Office products, education about your leaving your digital footprint and safety issues when you're existing in the digital world. So that's being rolled out to us. Staff will be doing at least part of it. Everyone will be taking some of this to make sure we're all up to speed, and then we'll roll it out to patrons. I'm thinking that will probably not start until after the first of the year as well. And then we did do our staff development day on Friday, and I'm going to pass this around, Sarah, if you wouldn't mind. That's everyone received a folder, so you can kind of look through and get a sense of some of the details. But we split our groups up, and so Sardinia and Fayetteville staff met here, and then Georgetown and Mount Orab staff and the office staff met in Mount Orab, and we used our video conferencing to deliver the in-person programs, where we're even able to have our deferred comp rep and our AFLAC rep meet with individual staff members by Zoom. They took over my office and they could do that, and also meet individually with people on site. So it worked really well, although, the best is to have everybody together. But we just thought squishing ourselves all into the one place wouldn't be good. And our favorite caterer was still able to cater. Anita Ranford did. She just provided us all with everybody's favorite boxed meal, the chicken gravy and all of that. So it went really well. And we're going to be talking about how do we do March staff trainings and knowing the way things are working in the world. So.
Back to the statewide delivery.
Yes.
Does Sardinia and Fayetteville have any stops?
They both have 2 stops a week. Yep. And they seem to be going just fine.
They are, yep, absolutely. In fact, during staff development day, we told them, they could come early, whatever. They decided to come, and they delivered quite the load of totes. So I mean,
Really?
Sometimes you just really don't know, and we were like in the teens worth of totes. So
Yeah.
so yeah, it's flowing just fine at Sardinia and Fayetteville.
It used to be that Fayetteville was on a different route than the rest of the counties. That's still true.
We do have a different driver than the other within, but it's just the way that they contract it out within stat. So within the carrier service. So
It is a different route. Fayetteville's on Route 2. Sardinia's on Route 1.
How about Georgetown, Mount Orab?
They're on Route 1.
Okay.
Yeah, Sardinia shares the same driver
Okay.
with the other 2. So
I guess I naively thought that because Stat was only doing libraries and the prior contracts had, they were delivering lots of different things, that it would go much more smoothly than it has. But we continue to send the claim forms, let them know that things aren't right. And we'll be looking at, do they need to give us some kind of a reimbursement for all that we've missed, to this point. So there it is.
Thank you, Lynn.
Mhm.
We're on to committee reports, which is the Personnel Committee.
The minutes are included, and we did not meet tonight. And I think is there a piece in here? I can't remember.
We do have action
Yeah.
later on where we'll be talking about.
What we can talk about later.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you, Barb. Nominating Committee.
That's your job to appoint a nominating committee for officers. I had left that off the original agenda. So that was one of those new things on this revised agenda. It's like, oh, it's time for November's nominating committee Monday. So
I pick
you pick. Do you volunteer, Lydia? However many you want.
And this is to set these, I don't see anybody.
Tracy's raising her hand.
Nobody's raising their hands, right? Just tell us.
This is to appoint officers.
For next, yes, and then in December.
Right.
we'll
Okay,
present.
Tracy, now do it.
Okay, Tracy and
This
Barbara.
is your first year, right?
Yes.
Good. Rhea, this will be easy.
Yeah, my
Should
contract's
be.
open for another.
Your contract's open.
So then Tracy and Barb will put their heads together and talk to people, and at the December meeting, they'll present their
I
slate.
don't think it's gonna be.
And then
very
we'll vote,
difficult,
right?
And then-
Because we're doing,
The organizational, yeah, at the second technical, yeah, the second meeting of the December.
okay.
That was easy, wasn't it?
Yes. All right, number 6, an update on the Georgetown water damage.
Woo-hoo. All right, so
All this.
we could be here for an hour just telling stories about things, right? But I'm going to keep it succinct and say that the repair has not been going as quickly as we would like. It has felt that as though part of the insurance process, although Mark will, be able to professional, that's his industry, will be able to say this is the way it goes. But with water damage, there are things you have to do to stop the damage and not have more damage. Didn't feel as though those things were getting done. And so with some conversation with other parties that are involved in our insurance agent and the adjusters, we got some things going. We should be having a check arrive anytime now. The elevator is partially repaired. I believe they're still waiting on some equipment. But we have several contracts. I know that our second remediation company, Rumpke Restoration, is doing a really good job. And I'm actually going to let Tanya say a couple of words about maybe what is going well, or maybe some updates that she and I haven't talked about. But essentially, when we're finished talking about these things, we're going to have bills coming in. I haven't seen all the numbers yet, but I'm going to need either a board approval to allow me to enter into those contracts and then bring you back details when I have them, so that we don't have any more delays on taking action here, or else, a quorum is going to have to be willing to meet, so that we can, when I get a contract with a number in hand, to be able to approve those things. And that might be some special meetings. So.
Or can we assign the president/insurance expert authority to do that?
Eventually, I think the whole board has to ratify the contract, so you could appoint, you could direct me to do whatever you want, and then we can come back when we actually have, real dollars to just a regular meeting, but that's entirely up to what you feel comfortable doing.
Does that slow you down if we have to come back?
Not if you give me the authority to go ahead and do what needs to be done with the companies that we have. But that I don't have exact numbers yet, because we don't have those from the insurance company. And
I would recommend to the board that I be the point person through this process, since I think this is what I do for a living.
last you
So-
checked.
Yeah, so, Lynn and I've already gone over the estimate, and, she's got my cell phone number. She can text me and call me at any time.
Yeah.
And there would be an immediate response with, no delay if everybody's okay with that.
Great.
Does that need to be mentioned?
Is there a legal requirement that the whole board has to sign off on this?
Well, the problem is not so much the entering into the contract as when it comes time to make payment, I can't open a purchase order for more than $5,000. And all of this is more than $5,000. Each little piece is more than $5,000. So that's where the stop comes,
But can we change that temporarily so that you can do anything that's related to the water damage?
Oh,
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea, Harold.
just that, nothing.
Right, I think you could waive the $5,000 maximum purchase order for, you could do that. And I would still get with Mark and say, okay,
Yeah,
what's going on with this? And
So Harold, we could say temporarily waive in conjunction with consultation with Mark. So you got both your bases covered,
Mhm.
and I know.
What section is that in? I remember.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm not sure. That's the administrative manual, I believe.
It's in the bylaws.
Well, and I think there are actually two places. I think bylaws, and I think that our administrative manual also has, the administrative policy also has something about. Use of building and repair funds, maybe that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, the administrative manual does not have any dollar amount assigned to it. And I don't know if you can waive.
I'm sure it's in your job description,
Part of it,
somewhere.
I think it's 9.
or not the job description, but
Here we go.
there-
Section 7, yeah. It's section 7.3 of the bylaws that says make it
I
expenditure.
move we waive the 7.3 section regarding $5,000. And allow Mark and you to approve purchase orders.
I'll second it.
Well, I said Mark and you, but it has to be Sarah too.
Right, but in consultation
Yeah,
with.
And she ain't gonna do that unless the money's there.
Exactly. Sorry, Lynn, can't do that.
Sorry, try again.
Just for the,
So water
Water
damage.
damage.
Water damage insurance.
yeah. Great suggestion.
We need a second.
A second.
Okay, I'm sorry, Sue.
Sorry. Mark,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Tracy,
Yes.
and Sue.
And
Does that cover everything?
I think it covers everything. You know, I gave you what I have so far, but as you can see, these are just your basic standard contracts and very little money anywhere mentioned in any of that. And so, yeah.
Are they currently working on the damage books?
So Tanya, you've been in direct contact with First Call more than I have. I know you forwarded me those emails just yesterday, I think it was, of pictures of damaged items. I haven't seen any list that actually totals how many are not able to be salvaged. Tanya, can you fill us in on any of those details?
Yes, so the materials were delivered late this afternoon. I have not had a chance to go through the boxes yet, but they are labeled to what could be cleaned, what is good, what is a maybe, and then what are not salvageable. They did return everything so that there are no missing materials, and that way we can see them ourselves. When they took the materials to clean them, they did have to wear full breathing apparatuses because they were so bad. They had reactions to them right away. So they were really bad. I can tell you, I saw the number of boxes, and the number of boxes that say good on them far outweigh the other boxes. But like I said, I have not been through them yet. I will see if they have a list in there that they dropped off with the items, or if they just have that and they need to email it to me. But I will get that to Lynn as soon as I have it.
So you haven't actually seen any that have been sent back and
No, I did not look through the boxes yet. I will do that tomorrow.
We have some pictures. I don't know if this is going to allow me to. Yeah, it's not going to. I don't have my email up, but some of it was pretty ugly. I mean, especially items that were closest to where the pipe broke. But the added problem of the first remediation company, Belfour, that left things in the trailer and the freezer wasn't on and they got moldy.
I didn't realize the freezer wasn't on.
Nobody knew that, but they didn't check. Go ahead, Tanya.
I'm so sorry. I was just going to interject. We thought the freezer was running because the motor was kicking on like it should have. So that's what we heard. The belt was frozen. So there's no way that anybody could have known unless they were going into that trailer, checking it, which was supposed to be done by Belfour. They were supposed to be keeping an eye on those because the fact is that trailer was supposed to be transported within a week at most. And it sat there for multiple weeks.
Oh, gosh.
well, my next question is, have you talked with the insurance company about replacing those?
Not specifically yet. You'll notice that Belfour is not one of those names that's on that list, and I didn't send you anything because I've been told don't pay anything. The insurance company has said, do not send them a check. Do refer them directly to the insurance company if they should contact us, because there's going to be some kind of negotiations that are going to take place.
I was just gonna say, boy, if that was mine, there would be a problem.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a large national company,
Yeah.
Belfour,
Yeah.
that shouldn't have done that. They screwed up.
They-
That's why they have insurance
Yes.
for when they screw up. like that.
So, yeah, so that one is not on the list. I don't think that there's any major contractor that we've already said, you know, when we can give you the go ahead, we want you doing this. I think that, is there anyone I'm missing, Tanya? I don't think so.
No, I can just give a quick update on Rumpke if you'd like.
Sure.
I am very impressed with Rumpke Restoration. They have got in there and done an incredible amount of work in just a few days. And the difference in the smell in the atmosphere when you walk downstairs is drastically different already. They have heavily treated things and it is very noticeable. They did cut out the molded drywall that was left down there, the molded insulation, and treated the wood that was down there. I went down there and did look over things and I did not see any mold or mildew left. They are still working. All of the tile is out of the bathrooms and they've treated all that flooring. They are still working on getting some of the drywall they have at the bottom of both stairwells to do yet. But they've done an incredible amount of work.
And we're still juggling a little bit between what part of the actual finish or reset up parts are going to be divided up between library design and Rumpke Restoration, because Rumpke will do the drywall and the painting and we'll do some other things as well. But we'll have to see what how that's approved on the insurance end as well.
Something else, Mark, probably you should also sign these purchase orders. since he's going to be advising you and working with you, don't you think?
Could. We'll leave you a line. We'll leave you a blank line.
If you think, if that's what you think, Harold, I mean,
We
I
do,
think the three of you should have signatures on that.
on the purchase orders or the contracts, because I know that when there are things regularly that, like the ProKill contract, which is more than we could open ourselves. I believe Sarah puts the motion number on the purchase order and the
And the date.
purchase order where it's something that had to be board approved. So we could, you know, we could
You could
scan
sign
and
that
sign
box,
them, and you could sign them that way if you want to, initial them.
you mean E initial?
Yes,
Yes.
whatever works.
E-sign.
Yeah, we can do
E
that.
sign, E initial, and I mean, if I lived closer to Mount Hill
I know,
Library,
right.
I could pop by, but
No, we might leave them in the
what, 3
locker
minutes
for
away?
you, you know, and you can do it at your convenience and.
We do have that option, yes.
Little text. Hey. what
Yes.
happened?
All right.
Anything else with that, Lynn?
I don't have anything else unless Tanya has something specific that she wants to make sure you all know.
No, not at this time, just that the staff is doing very well at accommodating these special circumstances. And I would like to just recognize them for their willingness to be flexible and always come to work with a smile on their face, and they don't complain at all. They just do what needs to be done.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just all the damage, it's the fact, you know, we've got several staff members who no longer have places to work. And there's not a meeting room for people to go and sit in at a table and work. So that make, you know, that level of discomfort and not having a place to call your own. And yeah, that in itself is difficult. So it's a really good crew we've got there.
Well, thank you for sharing, Tanya. All right, on to number 7, motion to approve contract with Robin.
I don't
Okay.
I'll second.
Mark,
Yes,
Barb,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes,
Tracy.
Yes.
And Sue.
Yes.
number 8, motion to approve memorandum of understanding with the State Library of Ohio for 2022 Ohio Digital Library participation. The memorandum of understanding not to exceed 15,000, including up to 10,000 paid to SLO for collection services and the balance in additional expenditures on ebooks.
what is the collection services? What do they mean?
That-
Falls under that.
That's where we say, here, rather than us spending our staff time picking the items, we're gonna give you this part of the money and you choose everything that's high on, has 7,000 holds or whatever else. And so they actually like fill the high holds items. So it used to be called something else and I'm blanking on the name right now, what it used to be called, but that's.
That also reminded me of something else, and that is the Chromebooks, for example. Okay, so you're loaning out equipment. Does that get charged to a different account other than capital improvements?
So yes, it does get charged to a different account. So normally we would call that a technology thing, but this is part of that whole bigger discussion of, you know, how much money are you spending on materials? We will be charging this to, well, actually, this one doesn't matter because this is all covered by a grant.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, okay, but in case you did.
If we do this, to me, that's an
put it under
electronic,
materials.
yeah, it
Yeah.
would go in a
Yeah,
materials
that's
line.
that's only
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, yeah, there's something else that we do, and I can't remember what it is that we put in the
What do you-
414 line.
Oh, Sprint for the hotspots.
Oh, the hotspots.
Yeah.
We charge that to the
They should be
414.
under materials, right?
And I'll just say that we have not yet we usually get a document every year from the state library. By this time, we haven't received that document. They've been a little bit slower with most of their contracts. So I have put an upper end estimate. That's why I said not to exceed, because this past year, I think it was 12,000 and change. And I don't see it being a required 2% or whatever it is not going to be higher than that. So
Does someone from the state library do that, or do they contract the selection process out? to
Yeah, so the
the
state library does that.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's why I feel really good about saying, okay, you know what, the biggest chunk of that money, let them go ahead and do all of those things that we would be doing anyway, but it saves us our time.
Can I mention something, Lynn?
Please.
A couple years ago, they allowed us to participate in Overdrive Advantage. And by doing that, it still goes towards our MOU, but we actually, the books we purchase, they go to our patrons first before they're checked out by other people,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
in Ohio. And we get a really nice report that tells us all the books that are requested by our patrons. So that's something else that we do is we go through that and we add those to our orders to make sure that we're fulfilling those holds that we know our patrons want.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a separate budget for the Overdrive Advantage selections, apart from the amount that you pay?
No,
For the
it's
subscription.
part of, no, it's all part of what we,
Rolled in together.
yeah. Yeah, we don't have we haven't, except for where we have to charge it to print materials or electronic material, that's the only division we have.
I'll move. I'll second.
Mark,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes,
Tracy,
Yes.
Sue.
Yes.
Because you know, I'll get the contract tomorrow, probably.
Of course.
All right, number 9, motion to approve the contract with Appoint Construction for general maintenance services, all branches for the period of 1/1/2022 to 12/31/2022 for a fee of $5,000.
I'll second.
Mark,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Harold,
yes,
Tracy,
Yes.
Sue.
Yes.
Number 10, motion to approve contract renewal with Nick's Lawn and Landscaping for groundskeeping services. We have snow removal 2021 to 2022. Plow shovel 75 per location, salt sidewalks 80 per location, and lawn care 2022 will be addressed after the first of the year.
Yeah, so the original agenda I did not have the new numbers, so these dollar amounts are up from last year. Last year was $70 for each of those, but we know that the cost of materials and fuel and all that is going up. And that's one of the reasons, while we normally do the lawn care at the same time, we're going to wait until after the first of the year so he can give us something more accurate for what it's actually going to cost to take care of lawns. But he has assured me he wants to continue the contract for the lawn care, and so.
move,
A second.
Mark,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Harold,
yes,
Tracy,
Yes.
and Sue.
Yes.
Number 11, I need a motion to approve the disposal of property.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Mark,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Harold,
yes.
Tracy,
Yes.
Sue.
Yes.
Lynn, did you want to talk about this first before?
Or does the personnel committee want to talk about this first, since they have worked so hard on the, yeah. Tracy is pointing at you. So, all right, so.
You're so much more articulate.
We all know that finding help these days, or hanging on to help these days is definitely becoming an interesting issue. So what we are doing is extending the benefits, some benefits beyond the 30-hour per week employees and prorating holiday and personal time off, which, as Lynn said, and help, I think I'm going to quote this right, it becomes a zero-sum effect because we're not paying extra hours, they're just getting paid for some, taking time off that they would normally be there.
Yeah, I like to think of it as
And-
budget neutral.
Budget
It's-
neutral, that
Yeah,
was it. I knew it was a
Yeah.
number.
But that was a great introduction.
it was,
The way
yes.
she presented that was fantastic.
Yeah, and it is budget neutral because the way we handle these things now for the 30-hour-a-week and above people is those days off are scheduled as part of their normal work week. And there would be no accumulation of personal time. There would be no accumulation of holiday time. So there's no payout risk for the board at all. And I agree, in this environment where recruiting and retaining employees is challenging at best. And I think even looking at this as a reward for those who have stuck with us through some really difficult times. I mean, I think about the people who are under that 30-hour per week, and they are a significant part of our frontline staff and do a lot of that heavy lifting, in quotes. And it would be really nice to be able to say to them, we value you this way, as well as the other ways that we value you.
Is there a requirement for, I guess this would be benefits overall, for time on staff before you qualify for it?
There is only for vacation and sick time, for personal time and for holiday. Basically, if you're employed and the holiday falls within your employment, you get that holiday when it occurs. And, but there's no waiting period. And for personal time, at the beginning of each year, we credit anyone on staff with whatever their correct amount of time is to be able to use. So that, I guess, if you want to look at risk, that's always a little bit of a risk. It's only 2 days worth of time. So I think it's a very minor risk for the board to say, okay, we're going to give you this. And if somebody uses it the first week of January and then quits, well, then, I mean, it's still budget neutral. So you've just paid them for being gone for, 2 days.
So in terms of insurance, for example, how long does an employee have to work before they qualify for that?
Health insurance, we do not have a waiting period. Am I correct?
Okay, so does that apply here too, then? No waiting period?
No waiting period. Yeah, for any of these, but the only paid leave benefits that have a waiting period are sick time and vacation time. And we're not recommending that either of those get
Right.
approved at this point in time.
I move.
I'll second.
Mark,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Tracy,
Yes.
Sue.
Yes.
A motion to enter executive session to consider the employment of public employees.
I move.
I'll second.
Mark,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Tracy,
Yes.
and Sue.
Yes.
So before we start any of the business, and before the managers leave, is there anything that any of the managers would like to say to the board, or the board would like to say to the managers before they say?
Thank you for the personnel change for, leave for our staff, because they will greatly appreciate it.
That'll be a fun announcement.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Let me do it, please. Let me send something out before you let the cat out of the bag.
We'll let you take care of it.
I assume
I appreciate that.
everyone's already left before we got to that.
We closed 45 minutes ago,
That's what I thought,
so
yeah.
I'm the only one still here, so. And now I'll just get my things in.
All right, terrific. Tanya, I see you unmuted. Something you want
Thank
to?
you.
I was just gonna say, I agree 100%. I'm very grateful for that, and I know the staff will be also.
Heather?
And thank you for the Lunch for Staff Development Day. We appreciate that as well. I know everyone really enjoys it each year. And have a happy Thanksgiving. Be safe, travel well, and eat lots of food.
Good advice.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right.
Thank you.